Today, do this is another mimer after the incident in the Rebbe's situation. Several weeks he gave the mimer from his room. So last time we learned the mimer of Parshas Noach. This is Motzi Shabbos Bereshis uh, in his room in the year Tovshin Lamed Ches. The mimer Bereshis Bar Lekimas Shemayim V'Soretz. So the Rebbe would say it in a microphone upstairs uh, by his room, and the Hasidim, everybody would listen to the mimer outside. So this is the mimer. It says over here in the note. So this is Motzi Shabbos Bereshis Bechedro Tovshin Lamed Ches. In the notes it says that Yoitzel La'oir Bekuntrus Motzi Shabbos Parshas Bereshis. So they published the booklet after Shabbos Bereshis Tovshin Lamed Ches. The Rebbe looked it over right away. So that's how we have the mimer here. All right. So let's do this mimer. So the mimer is Bereshis Bore Likim Es Hashemayim V'Sa'aretz. This is the very first pasuk in the Torah. So the Torah says the way Hashem starts off with the creation of the world. And Rashi, the Rebbe brings down from Rashi, or from the Medrash, Rashi brings it down. Why did the Torah start with creation? Why did not the Torah start with the mitzvahs? HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem. Seems like in the Pashtus, seems like since the Torah is a book of mitzvahs, of instructions for the Yidden what to do, so it should have started with the mitzvahs, with HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem, not with the story of creation. But the Rebbe is going to explain Bipnimis and Yonim in the inner matter of things that there is more than that, just because the whole purpose of creation is to bring down the level for Sovev into Memale. We have a world that the Eibishter created, or worlds, if we want to include Brira, Yitzira, Asiya. These are all worlds that the Eibishter created, which are the level of Memale Kol Almim. And what is the purpose of Torah and mitzvahs? To bring down the level of Sovev, of godliness, into this world, into the Memale Kol Almim. So that seems to take place through the mitzvahs, through HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem, which brings Sovev into Memale, which is the purpose of creation and Torah and everything else. Talking about creation itself, that's the world of Memale. That's what Hashem created. But that's not the purpose. We should start with the purpose of bringing Sovev into Memale. Let's look inside. V'omru Razal, our sages of blessed memory say, Omar Rabbi Yitzchok, Loi hoyo tzorich lahaskil. He should not have started as ha-Torah the Torah, elo meha-chodesh hazeh lochem chulu. But in Parshas Boi, in which it says ha-chodesh hazeh lochem, talks to you about the month of Nisan, Rosh Chodoshim, about the preparation for Mitzrayim, the Korbanos, the mitzvahs, and the Yidden should take the Korban Pesach, etc. So that's where Torah should have started. That's what Rabbi Yitzchok said. So umatam posach bebreshis. So what is the reason that he opens up the Chumash with Breshis? So the answer is mishum koyach masav higid la'amay, because the power of Hashem's action is what he tells his people. He tells his people, Bereshis bara lakim, that loses lahem nachlas goyim, that he's going to give them the inheritance of the nation. Shem tells them, I am going to give you later on Eretz Yisrael, the 7 nations, you're going to inherit it. So Hashem is telling them that the power of what he did, that he's the boss of the world. So that if She'im Yomru Umas Ha'olam Yisrael Listimatem, if the nations of the world tell the Yidden, you are robbers, Shekibashtem Artzes Shiva Goyim, because you have conquered the land of the seven nations, it doesn't belong to you. Why did you go ahead and take away the land of the seven nations? The land of Eretz Yisrael doesn't belong to you. So if the nations of the world will tell the Yidden, have such an argument, Heim Oimrim Lahem, so the Yidden will respond to them, Kol Ha'aretz Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Everything, the whole world belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Beraishis Bara Elikim. It belongs to Hashem. Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It always belongs to Hashem. Hu Bra, he is the one that created the world. Since he created it, he has a right to give it to whoever he wants. He gives it to the one he sits fit in his eyes, whoever he wants to give it to. That's what he gives it to. Not lahem. He wanted, he gave it to them, he gave it to the nations of the world until the time that he gives it to the Yidden. And then he wanted to, he took it away from them and gave it to us. So we didn't conquer something that didn't belong to us. It's what Hashem, who creates the whole world, he decides where it goes. And in the beginning, he had the nations of the world, the seven nations live in Eretz Yisrael. But then, when the time came, he wanted to take it away from them and give it to us, and that's when Eretz Yisrael. And that's why the pasuk starts with Bereshis bara Elikim, to tell us that Hashem is the boss of the world. He created it all. And that's why that's to tell the power so that we can take it over. But here, that's the Pashta Pshat. But here we have an inner Pshat that what it means that the Torah should start with HaChodesh Hazeh, which is basically would be the idea of being Mamshich, Sovev, and Memale, and not just with Bereshis bara Elikim, which seems to be Memale Kol Almin. And the answer is that when we're Mamshich in world, that it's Dafke in this world, we're Mamshich even a higher level than the Sovev Kol Almin. As the Rebbe will speak, that you have the light in Emek HaMelech, you have the Oir of Hashem, which filled the whole Mokem HaCholol, the whole space. And then there was a Tzimtzum, and that Tzimtzum created room for Kalim, a room for the world, a Tzimtzum of the light. And when you do Mamshich through Torah mitzvahs, you're being actually Mamshich from the level of Sovev that filled the hollow first before the Tzimtzum. That's what you bring down. But when we do in the world, then we're actually Mamshich a higher level. And that's why it starts with my separation. Let's look inside. It's explained about this in the Maimorim of our Rebbes, our leaders. What's the reason that we say that the Torah should have started from a Chodesh Lochem? What is that idea? Because what is the idea when we say Chodesh Hazeh? Hu yichud sovev umemale. That's the union of sovev and memale, bringing down, connecting sovev and memale. In the Olam HaAtzilus, Malchus is the root of Memalekul Almim, because from Malchus comes Bia, Bri Yitzira Asiya. Zo, Zeir Ampin, which is the 6 Midos, they are Sovev Kol Almim, because Atzilus itself is considered to be Sovev, and then in general, Zo, especially the Sfiras HaYisoid, the 6th Sfira, Yisoid is Mamshich in Malchus. Malchus is Memale, and Zo, Yisoid, are the Sovev, are the Gilui from Sovev in Memale. That is hinted in the words HaChodesh Hazeh. Chodesh Hazeh is Sovev in Memale. HaChodesh represents feminine, represents Memalekul Almim Malchus. Hazeh represents Gilui, which represents the idea of Zo. So Chodesh Hazeh is the union, the yichud of Sovev Male. As he explained, Ki Chodesh shu b'chinas Malchus. Chodesh is the level of Malchus. We have also the Chodesh, like the moon. The moon is the recipient. Rebbe doesn't say it over here, but the moon is the recipient of the sun, and the sun is considered to be the mashpia, and this moon is the makabel, receives its light from the sun, the Malchus. But here we're saying Malchus specifically, the word Chodesh, when we say Chodesh, is, he brings a pasuk over here, Chodesh Ishtoi. I quoted here because it's not a common pasuk. It's just, in Divrei Hayomim, it's basically his wife's name was Chodesh. The pasuk said over there that his wife Chodesh gave birth to Yovav, Tzivya, Mesha, Bimal, their names over there. But we see that there is the word Chodesh next to the word Ishtoi. Ishtoi, of course, is feminine, the makabel, Memalekul Almim. So that's the idea of Chodesh. Chodesh is Malchus. Bechinas Memalekul Almim. That's the level of Memalekul Almim. V'zeh, that's Chodesh. What is Zeh? Chodesh Hazeh. Hu inyan Gilui. Zeh means revelation. To bring down into Memale, to bring down, reveal. What do we see? What's the connections that would reveal? Kimayim Razal. As our sage of blessed memories say, it says, Zeh Hashem kivinu loy. This is Hashem. So he says, Mare, Zeh means look with your finger. Mare be'etzboi v'emer Zeh. With your finger you say, look, see this. So basically, so what is a Chodesh and Hazeh? It is Yisoid V'zo. Yisoid V'zo, that's the Zeh. Like I said, Zo is the 6 spheres. That's the Sevev. Yisoid being the 6th, right on top. Yisoid is Mashpia to Malchus, which is Yichud Sevev Kol Almim and Malchul Almim. Which basically the Pasuk HaChodesh Hazeh talks about the union of Sevev Kol Almim and Malchul Almim. So what is the meaning? Upirush HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem. So what does it mean that HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem? What is the HaChodesh Hazeh? Who shebechinas Memalekul Almim, that in the level of Memalekul Almim, in Chodesh, in the level of Malchus, which is the level of Chodesh, Yiyeboy Gilui Sevev Kol Almim, there should be the revelation of Sevev Kol Almim. Hazeh, that the Hazeh should be in Chodesh, that the Chodesh should be connected with Hazeh, so that there is a yichud from Sevev Malchus. Why did the Torah have to start with the thing of Soivev Kol Almim, Yichud Soivev Mal Kol Almim. So this is the way we're interpreting now. The Torah should have started with HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem, because that's the Yichud of Soivev Mal Kol Almim. Why should the Torah start with that Yichud of Soivev Mal Kol Almim? V'hoya tzorich lahaschil as HaTorah ma'chodesh hazeh lochem. We should have started the Torah with HaChodesh hazeh lochem. Why? Ki tachlis HaTorah mitzvah, because the purpose and the goal of Torah mitzvahs hu inyan yichud sevav u'mamali is the idea of the connecting, the union of sevav u'mamali. That's the whole idea of Torah mitzvahs. So memela, you start with HaChodesh hazeh, which is the idea of sevav u'mamali. Why start with Beraishis when we should start with the purpose of Torah and mitzvahs to bring and connect Sevav Mamali? That's why Rav Yitzchok says the Torah should have started Machedesh Hazeh Lachem, and not from the creation of the world, which seems to be Mamali Kolam, should start the Yichud of Sevav Mamali. So basically, the Rebbe brings down the statement of Rabbi Yitzchok and brings down from the Maimer how to explain the question why the Torah started with Bereishis Bara and not with HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem, which represents the idea of Yichud Sevav Mamali. That seems to be the goal. So why don't we start with that? So in order to understand the answer, so first we will understand what exactly, how do we say Soivev comes down into Mimali. Here we're talking about Zo Yesoid into Malchus. But there is a higher root than that. Before Yesoid and Malchus, that Yichud, there's even a higher source than that. And that is the Oir that was Lifnei HaTzimtzum to be Mamshich into the Tzimtzum. The Tzimtzum is Memale. The Oir that was there before the Tzimtzum, that's the Soivev. And the Avodah is to bring down the Oir from Lifnei HaTzimtzum into the Tzimtzum. That's Soivev into Memale. V'hinei, base. Inyan hamshochas hasoivev shal yidei Torah mitzvahs. This that we're bringing down the soivev through Torah mitzvahs. B'shor sheharisha, we go all the ways back. In the first root, what soivev do we bring down? Right now we were talking about Zohar Malchus, but we're talking about b'shor sheharisha who hamshochas oirin sof shel lifnei hatzimtzum. We're actually talking about bringing down the Soivev that Ein Sof that was there before the Tzimtzum. Before the Eberster made that Mokim Ponui, that empty space in which he created the world, there was Oir there. That's called the Oir that was before the Tzimtzum. Then the Eberster created this Cholol Mokim Ponui, this hollow and empty space. So we're mapshich from the Oir Lifnei Tzimtzum into the Tzimtzum. Okay, the Isa, so that means to look, the Isa be'emek hamelech bitchilosei. As we find in the Emek HaMelech in the beginning, the Bria Sa'oilamos Hoya al Yidei Tzimtzum Harishon, that the way the worlds were created, it was through the first Tzimtzum, Shahoya ba'oir Ein Sof, the first Tzimtzum that was in the Oir Ein Sof. The nishar cholol umokim panu, and then they left over a hollow, an empty place in the space where there was Ein Sof. There was Ein Sof, and then the Ein Sof restricted, contracted. Now there became a space a hollow place. From that space, that is the root which Kalim, the vessels, as opposed to the Oiris, and the existence of the world. In Yemaisa Bereshis, that's where the whole idea, the concept of creation of the world, came about from this tzimtzum. This restriction created is the root of the Kalim and the world being existed. What happens after that? The Eibishter created the world. The Eibishter puts Adam Harishon in that world. What Adam Harishon in that world is, he's supposed to be mamshich from the oir that was there before the tzimtzum, before there was this hollow place, into the tzimtzum. Uma shekosuv, and when it says vayanicheyu began Eden la'avdo l'shomra, that Hashem put Adam Harishon into Gan Eden for him to sit and work and guard the Gan Eden. That serving and guarding the Gan Eden is basically mitzvah asay is avdo, lois asay to guard it. That's shekoi al havoida, the Torah mitzvahs. This references the service of Torah mitzvahs. La'avdo zeramach mitzvah asay. La'avda, that represents the 248 positive mitzvahs. U'lishamra zeshasa mitzvahs loisa, to guard is the 365 prohibitions that we're not allowed to do. That's we're protecting the Gan Eden. We're protecting the world by not doing what we're not supposed to, and we're working it by doing the 248 positive mitzvahs. So what did the Eibishter put him there? What are we going to do through the Avdul Shamra, through the Torah mitzvahs? To bring down additional light into this Gan Eden. Al Yidei HaKav, that comes through the Kav, through the stick, Me'oirein Sof Shelifnei HaTzimtzum. From the Oirein Sof that was before the Tzimtzum, there is a Kav, and that Kav, that line, that stick, that line, that gives from the Ein Sof that was the Lifnei Tzimtzum into the Tzimtzum, into Gan Eden, into the world. Ad, to such an extent, Shala Osid Yiyeh Gilui Ein Sof b'mokem hacholu k'moi shoya koydem haTzimtzum. In the future, there will be such a revelation of the Ein Sof in the place where it is the cholol, in the hollow, in the shoyrish, in the kelim, and it was before the tzimtzum. In other words, it's going to go back to its original state, just like in the original. The Ein Sof filled this whole place through the kav, where mamshich and the avodah will bring down so much light that the light, the Ein Sof, is going to be like before the tzimtzum. V'zahu. And this is further the explanation that Rabbi Yitzchok said, Lo hoyo tzorich lahaschil as haTorah ela machodesh hazeh lochem. Torah should not have started but from machodesh hazeh lochem. Why? Kisipur ma'aseh Bereshis hakoilu achar hatzimtzum. The study of ma'aseh Bereshis is everything after the tzimtzum already. That's where there was a mokem panu. There's a place for the world. It's all after the tzimtzum. Umikivon shein yona shel haTorah, hu amshachas oirin sof shel l'mayla tzimtzum. Since the whole idea of Torah is to bring down the oirin sof, which is higher than tzimtzum, hu tzrich lahaschil, he needed to start as haTorah, the Torah lo b'ma'aseh Bereshis, which is tzimtzum. Ki im hachodesh hazeh, should have started hachodesh hazeh. That's bringing down the level of soibev hazeh. Because as we're talking about, the root of this is hu amshachas oirin sof shel lifnei haTzimtzum, is to be mamshach oirin sof shel lifnei haTzimtzum. That's the goal is to bring down the Eretz of Livnei Tzimtzum. So why does he start with Ma'aseh Bereishis, which talks about after the Tzimtzum? We should start with the Eretz of that is Livnei Tzimtzum. So that's the question. The question is, we should start with something which is Ein Sof, that comes down into the world, instead of starting with the Ma'aseh Bereishis, with the Tzimtzum. So what's the answer? The answer is that actually, through the Ma'aseh Bereishis, we're mamshich even a higher level than the Ein Sof, that is Lifnei HaTzimtzum. Los is Lehem Nachlas Goyim, Matam Bosach Bebereishis, what he says is because it's on a higher level. Gimel. Umatam Bosach Bebereishis. So he says, so how come he started with Bereishis? Because this is, Shem is telling us the power to give the Yidden the inheritance they going. And that is that this idea to give us the inheritance of the nation, to give us Eretz Yisrael, to turn around the world and make it into a place, is a higher level, a place for Hashem, make it Eretz Yisrael, change things around. It's even higher than being Mamshich Sevev, which is Lifnei HaTzimtzum B'Shorshei, the Oyer Lifnei HaTzimtzum, into the Tzimtzum, we're Mamshich even something higher. V'hainu, Sha'inyan, the Koyach Ma'asev Goyim Berlosis Lohem Nachlas Goyim. This power of his action to give them the inheritance nation, Hu Naile Yoiser Gami Inyan Amshochas HaSoivev. This is actually even higher than the idea of bringing down the Soivev. Bechinas Eirei Sof Shel Lifnei HaTzimtzum. Bringing down Soivev is bringing down the Eirei Sof that was before HaTzimtzum into this world. But Los Islam Nachlas Goyim is even a higher level. Explains. The Hine Tachlis HaKavona the Torah Mitzvahs Hu Lahamshir Bechinas Eir Chodosh. The ultimate goal of Torah Mitzvahs is not just to bring back the light, the Ein Sof that was there before the Tzimtzum. It comes out, there's no benefit. You're just bringing back that which was there before. So what's the benefit in if you're only going to get back the Ein Sof Lifnei Tzimtzum? How is that going to benefit? The answer is that the ultimate goal of Torah Mitzvahs is to bring down Oir Chodosh, a new light, not the light that was there already before. Hainu b'chinas atzmus Oir Sof, to bring down the essence of Oir Sof, which is higher than that light that was filling the place of the Cholol, to tap it even higher. How do you get that higher light? That is specifically through the work of sorting out through Olam Hazeh, through Bereishis Bara, through this world. This is the advantage in the actions of his hand to give them the inheritance of the nation, which is even greater than HaChodesh Hazeh. That's why we started with it. The idea of HaChodesh Hazeh is to bring down the light of Sovev, which is in the root, the highest level in the root. What is to be in Ram Shchodeir HaSovev? Not only Zoh, but we're talking about in the root of it, that is to bring down the light of the Mokim HaCholol only. So there was already the light over there. We'll bring it back into the Tzimtzum, into the Mokim HaCholol. But Vayidei Avodas HaBerurim, the Inyonei Ha'olam, but by sorting out matters of the world, Shenoflu Mezayen Melachim, that fell from the 7 kings, those are represented, the Malchei Edom. The 7 kings are in the inhabited Eretz Yisrael, the Sheva Umas. But that is represented by the kings of Edom that the Parsha says, the Malchei Edom, that's called the worlds of chaos of Tohu. So the worldly matters comes from the level of Tohu, from the Zayin Malachim, Malchei Edom, in order to sort out, take the world which receives from the seven Malachim, the Malchei Edom, and then to take it away from there and bring it into Kedusha. In the beginning, he gave it to them. He wanted them to have it. As our sages say, it's Hashem built worlds and then destroyed them, which means for a while he built the world, he built the Toyu, he built the Malachim, and they were in charge, but then he destroyed them because the Eibishter ultimately wants to give it to the Yidden. And the Yidden sort out all the worldly matters which come from the Zayin Malachim, and they inherit them. They become the inheritance of Yaakov. So they bring down a new light which is higher than the light that filled the place of the Cholul. So here we're not just getting the Tzimtzum, the light that was there before the Tzimtzum, the Eira Memale, Eira Seviv Kolamim, but we're actually getting Atzmus. We're getting a new light that was never there before. That was there, it was a Malamak Machol, and we bring it back again, but here we're talking about bringing down a new light. As in general, that's the world. We conquered the world, which is Olam Mazbiyah, and the world of Bri, Tzira, Sira. In a general way, we're conquering all of the world, because all the world gets from the seven Malachim, gets from Toyu. Everything is infused, generally, but more specifically, we're talking about the seven nations that occupy Eretz Yisrael. The world of Biyah is the Misham Yiporet, using the lotion of the Pasuk that Misham Yiporet v'hoyel arba roshim, that it spreads when it comes, and it becomes to four, Atzilus Bri Yitzira Asiya, or the Yiporet starts with Bri Yitzira Asiya, from Bria, Bogam came Bifrat Habiru, then specifically, we're talking about the sorting out, the kibush, arotzis shiva goyim, the conquering of the land of the seven nations. She Yisrael, Mahapchim Yisrael, that it's Yisrael, the Yidden turn in those seven nations to Eretz Yisrael. So basically, while the question is you should start with Achodesh Hazelochem Sevev Umemale, yes, that's true, but the real truth is that in Beraishis Bara Lekim, which is Mevarer, the Shiva Umas that they had, are the ones that infuse everything in this world, or the Shiva Malachim in Eretz Yisrael. The ultimate goal is to Mevarer them, and then it's not only that we get the light of the Sevev, but we get a new light, the light of Atzmos, a much higher light. Okay, let's leave it here, and we'll mamshich tomorrow. Okay?
Okay. See you then. Bye-bye.